I just built the world's first slide-in camper for a side-by-side UTV, complete with a slide-out, solar power, and heated floors. UTV, side-by-side, multi-purpose, off-highway utility vehicle, whatever you want to call it. These things are freaking awesome for both work and play. But there is one major problem. My Ranger can get me to the best camping spots, but I have to sleep on the ground, exposing myself to tree grizzlies, murder chickens, and much, much worse. Well, I am done exposing myself. Welcome to HAXMAN, y'all.
I want this side-by-side camper to be as light as possible, but I also need it to be as strong as possible. So I'm starting off with 3/4 inch plywood to use for the base of the camper. Now, obviously, maybe some aluminum tubing would be better, but I don't know how to weld. This is what I know how to do, so this is what I'm sticking with. I made the base 48 inches by 48 inches so that I could be as efficient as possible with the plywood. After cutting out the base, I cut out what I'll call the wings, and these are the sections that will sit on top of the sides of the side-by-side bed. This will give me an overall dimension of 68 inches wide by 48 inches deep.
You know, the truth is, it's not trash pandas and swamp donkeys I'm worried about. Legend has it, these woods are home to something bigger. Much, much bigger. I dare not say its name, but I'm sure those are just ghost stories, you know, meant to scare us. I'm sure there's nothing to worry about.
My hidden treasure chest.
If you've been with the channel for a while, you know that this channel started out doing building projects and trying to have fun with it. And then a couple years ago, I kind of lost the joy of doing that. But here's notice, I'm bringing it back. This channel is going to do a lot more builds just like I used to do. And I'm going to try to keep them as fun as possible. When I'm putting a project like this together that has these big pieces, I like to first shoot it with some staples to hold everything in place, then go back and put the screws in. Now, I'm using 3-inch screws on this to make sure that everything's held nice and tight.
Baby, if you want me, then all of this will go away.
As you've probably noticed, my garage is a major mess, so you can be guaranteed that an epic garage overhaul is coming soon.
Beautiful.
Do you have any mayonnaise?
Do I have any mayonnaise?
Yeah,
Yeah, I got some here. Hold on, I got some in my pocket. Hold on. Here you go. Here's the mayonnaise. How many packets you need?
Oh, thank you.
Do
you know where I need this?
No.
Baby, if you want me, then all of this will go.
Adam, you filthy animal. Look what you did. You had your depth set wrong on your drill bit.
Loser.
You know, I like to keep all of my mistakes in the videos because I like to keep it real, but at a certain point, I just look like a freaking idiot.
Loser.
Let us now test the fit of the base before we proceed.
That's weird. I thought I heard something. I'm sure it's nothing. Let me show you what's going on here real quick. Oh, extreme close up. Here we go. Here we go. test fit is successful. I don't know, maybe 2 inches sticking out past the furthest point. Not bad, that's acceptable. Now the way that I'm gonna attach this is I'm gonna run 4 screws, 2 approximately here and 2 approximately here on each side for a total of 8. And the reason that I can do that is because this actually had an accessory rack, just like the top has on it, but I don't really use it in the bed. So here are those attachment points. Really the best way I know how to do this, other than taking extremely precise measurements, is I'm just gonna thread the screws up from the bottom that hold the rack on, and I'm gonna press down really hard. Hopefully they'll leave an indentation.
Now this camper needs to be as luxurious as possible, so of course that means heated floors. Let's get started. I hate instructions. Alright, all the pieces are out, and after some helpful hints from this fellow, I've realized I've ordered the wrong parts. Back to the Amazon it goes, more on that later. For the framework of the walls of this camper, I'm going to be using 2x4s, and I'm going to cut those 2x4s down to 2x2 or 1.5 by 1.5 strips. The reason I'm using these are because they are cheap and fairly lightweight, you know, as far as wood goes.
As you may have already noticed earlier, I kind of gave it away. I'm using this sheet foam foamular XPS foam. I'm going to be using that to keep the camper lightweight as I can. Oddly enough, you can actually put 1,000 pounds in the back of that Ranger, but I don't want to put anywhere near that. I'm hoping to keep it around, like, could I keep it around 100, 150?
100, 150?
I don't know, we'll have to see. I've seen lots of videos on YouTube of people testing out different glues to find out which one will work best for gluing foam together or gluing foam to wood. And folks, here it is right here, okay? It's 3M78. I did a little research, about 5 minutes worth, and found this. It is literally made for it. And I've tested it and it works amazingly well. So that's what I'm going with.
You use it just like you would any other contact cement. The only difference is it doesn't have the harsh chemicals that will eat away at the foam. But just like any other contact cement, you do have to be careful when gluing the pieces together, because when they're stuck, they are stuck. Now, having said all of that, I'm also going to be using this Loctite PL300, which is also specifically designed for use with XPS foam board. The advantage of this glue is it gives you working time when you need it. The disadvantage is it takes a long time to dry, like 24 hours.
So I would guess that this wall weighs less than 10 pounds, but why guess when we can weigh it? Oh, wow. I'm not very good at this. 14.5 pounds. I hate to even guess on the base. I mean, I don't know. 35 pounds? 74.6 pounds. Oh, I just can't help it.
Everything feels light to me.
It's been pretty cold, so I decided to try to speed this process up by heating the glue up with a heat gun. Here's your warning. Don't get too close to the XPS foam with a heat gun. I'm building the side wall of the camper now that's going to have the slide out. I know this is going to be super complicated. I'm kind of dreading it, but I tested out, could I lay in this and have plenty of room without the slide out? And the answer to that was no. And now for the side with the window, and let's see if we can't speed this process up a little bit. I went ahead and cut these notches out so that I can easily put the front wall in later. Now, whenever I'm marking out to put plywood in, I like to put an X so that I know which side the plywood goes on to later, because I have the memory of a flea.
Right, just want to measure twice and cut once.
10 1/4.
Let me check it one more time. Oh, that is lovely. That is, look at that. Look at that. Look at it. Look at it. Right here, right here, right here, right here. Would you just look at it? Look at it. Flush, flush. Lovely.
This is actually going to be the side wall of the storage compartment that I can keep all of my camping supplies in. You can see here where I kind of marked everything out so I know where everything should fall. And what I'm doing now is adding what I guess you'd call are the rails. These will hold the slides for the slide out.
Ooh, look at how lovely it slides. Now that I was so proud of how well this worked, it has dawned on me that it's not going to work, because the bed drops down, it's going to come on top of this, which means, you know, this is where the bottom of the mattress is going to be, and I've got the bottom of the mattress down here in this drawer. I got to refigure.
Well, it turned out the simple solution was to simply flip it over, and it lined up perfectly. Feel free to go ahead and roast me in the comments. I couldn't find my putty knife, okay? So I used what I had. Anyway, what I'm doing here is just giving a skim coat of drywall mud over all of the walls so that it can fill in any imperfections or dents, and then I can go back and sand this and get it as smooth as possible. I don't even know what day it is. I think it's like the 4th or 6th day of this project, and it's raining. It's a miserable day. It's super windy out, so hey, let's do something super sketchy while there's a break in the rain. I had to cut the slide out panel thinner so that I could later add weather stripping. The right parts finally got here for the heated floor, and I'm just kidding. I'm gonna use this extension cord as my electrical wiring. Don't do that if you don't want to. Listen, don't do anything I'm doing, in fact, because I'm just an idiot YouTuber, okay? I'm just figuring this out as I go along. This cord will provide 120-volt power to this thermostat, which will in turn power the heated floors, and I'll be able to set it to whatever temperature I want. This is just a super simple way of doing this. Again, an electrician's probably outraged. This is super simple to install though. You just cut along the dotted lines, then place these little stickers, which kind of act as flat wire nuts essentially. And to hold it down, they actually say to just use a high quality duct tape. I'm placing the remote thermometer at the edge of the panel, but not on the panel. Now, to cover this, I'm going to be using this luxury vinyl plank flooring that I had left over. You can really feel the luxury. I did cut the front and back piece narrower so that once everything was installed, it came out nice and even and I didn't have one narrow strip. Ooh, luxury vinyl plank flooring is so easy to install.
Surely not.
Yeah, let's get inside and get these back 3 walls up as quick as I can, and let's start getting some paint on them. Now, I chose this lovely shade called Oak Terrace, and the reason I went with this color was, well, because I had a bunch of it left over from a previous project, and that made it free. With paint on the walls, I could go ahead and finish the wiring for the heated floors, and I could go ahead and put the final front wall up, which I've already pre-painted the inside of.
Wow, kind of big, babe.
It's a bit heavy too.
It's just a little bit heavier than I meant.
I just told you I had a.
I can't do nothing about it. Listen, also, we can't hit that thing right there.
So I think I missed my 100-pound goal. I think I'm closer to 250-ish.
100, 150.
It wasn't bad at all.
At the seams where it was wood to wood, where the walls met, I went over those with Bondo. And it's been so long since I used Bondo that it's blue now. When did it go from red to blue? Let me know in the comments.
I dropped this, sorry.
I used Power Grab to glue the top on, and listen, when they say instant grab, they mean instant grab. This thing was a little out of square and I couldn't slide the top over, so I just put this ratchet on and pulled it so that I could then put a screw in to get everything nice and square. And speaking of square, or I guess really rectangle, let's get some solar power up on this bad boy.
Now, in order to get these cables through here, I have what's called a cable entry gland. I don't know, that's what it's called on the box. That's disgusting.
Now, hypothetically speaking, if one were to cut the proverbial cheese in this camper, one would need a way to remove any nefarious smells. And this ventilation fan should do the trick.
It's finally time to finish the exterior of this camper. So what am I gonna use? Fiberglass? Poor man's fiberglass? No, I'm gonna be using roll-on truck bed liner. Why? Because I've never seen it done before. So therefore, I must try it.
Now, if you don't put a protective coating on this foam, you can see it scrapes really easily, and that's just not going to hold up. So therefore, I tested roll-on bed liner on a couple pieces of this XPS foam that I had, and you can see it dried and it held on really nicely. And it didn't do any damage to the foam unless you put it on there really thick. And then you can see here where it really just kind of melted in there and got really disgusting looking. That's nasty. Feeling confident I would have zero problems, I went ahead and started painting the slide out foam with the truck bed liner, and right off the bat, there's problems. Yeah, it is eating through even when I put it on thin. I don't know what the difference is. To prevent any more damage, I'm gonna go ahead and put a coat of paint before the bed liner over the whole camper. To attach the slide out upper to the slide out base, I'm using the spray adhesive, and man, it would be nice to have an extra set of hands here. Thanks, bud. Appreciate it. Before mounting the slide out, I went ahead and took care of some other details like adding the weather stripping to the slide out, adding a cover to my storage compartment, and man, do I love these self-centering drill bits. They're perfect for piano hinges. I'm not taking any chances with this slide out panel, so I'm using all three adhesives on this to make sure there's no issues. You can't see it here, but the opposite side of this panel has weather stripping, and that's to seal the slide when the slide is out. It is missing something. How do you say je ne sais quoi? Now, I just happen to have this infrared paint curer that is powered by propane, and this is from back when I had my cabinet shop, so I'm going to put it to use. All right, it's time to get brave. Maybe. Yep, there it is. Let's paint some trees. Just let those happy accidents flow. To attach the solar panel, I just pre-drilled the holes, and now I'm filling those holes with Lexol, which is a flexible sealant and glue, and this should keep the rain out really well. Unfortunately, I should have ran the cables first, so I had to take that back out and redo it. Before attaching the ventilation fan, I ran some butyl tape and Lexol around the edges of it.
When I ordered these windows, it said they were for 1.5 inch thick walls, 1.5 inch thick foam.
That was a lie.
We'll make it work though. I went ahead and ran butyl tape around both of the windows before I installed them. And just to make sure they were watertight, I went ahead and ran clear silicone around each of them. It's finally time to load the camper on the Ranger. Eventually I want to add some lifts to the corner, but for now, ain't nobody got time for that. I'm just going to go ahead and attach it just like how I showed you I was going to do in the beginning.
Howdy do? Come on in. Let me show you around. I've got this old battery bank down here, and I've got my heated floors plugged into that. I've got my fan plugged into that, and that's also where the solar power comes in. So that powers everything in here. And speaking of which, ooh, listen. Yeah, it's nasty out. It's a little warm today, so I'm gonna turn that on, but I do need to open it up. Woo, and let's get some ventilation. Man, that actually makes a huge difference, I'm gonna be honest with you. Now, you're probably wondering about the bed. Well, let me show you how that works. I just used a gate hasp for the top, and then that comes down. The original plan was to have a 4-inch mattress on here. In fact, I have the foam for it. I just couldn't do it because once the bed flips up and with the slide, there just isn't room for it. So for now, I'm sticking with a sleeping bag, and maybe I can do something like add an egg crate or something underneath me. Yes, it's so nice. I can finally relax. I can chill to my favorite tunes in my camper, okay? I've got storage, I've got ventilation, I've got heated floors, and best of all, no critters can get to me. Was that the engine that just started? Was that?
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening, but they fought with expert timing. They were funky Chinamen.
Oh, guys, if you enjoyed this video, watch this video right on the face. Watch this video right here. Do it. Do it. You'll be glad you did. Just, is it still there? Is it still there?